She posted, "A man who can't handle a strong woman isn't a man." This was right after I told her I wasn't okay with her staying at her ex's place for the weekend. I didn't argue. I just left her luggage outside. She came back to an empty apartment and a note that said, "Strong enough to be on your own." Right. Hey viewers. Huge thanks to everyone who's already subscribed. We're getting super close to 10,000. If you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button and help us reach that milestone. My ex is currently trying to find a new place to live because her strength as an independent woman didn't include having backup housing when she burned her bridges. 2 weeks ago she was posting about how strong women don't need weak men. Today she's scrambling to find an affordable apartment on her part-time salary. I'm 32. Work as an operations manager for a manufacturing company, make around 85K. Been dating Jessica, 28F, for about 10 months. She works part-time in social media marketing, makes maybe 25K annually. Jessica kept her own studio apartment throughout our relationship but started staying at my place more frequently. By month 8 she was basically living here 5 nights a week, keeping clothes and toiletries but maintaining her own lease as backup. From day one Jessica made it clear she wasn't going to be controlled by any man. Fair enough. Independent women are attractive, but there's a difference between independence and deliberately crossing boundaries to prove a point. The red flags started small. She'd make plans without mentioning them, then act like I was being possessive if I brought it up. She'd go out with male friends and get defensive if I asked basic questions about her evening. "I don't need to report my every move to you," was her standard response. True. But basic communication in a relationship isn't reporting. It's courtesy. About 3 months ago her ex Marcus moved back to town. They dated for 2 years in college, stayed friends afterward. Jessica made a big deal about how mature they both were, how they'd move past any romantic feelings. Cool. Adults can be friends with exes. Not ideal but manageable if there are proper boundaries. Except Jessica's idea of boundaries was basically no boundaries at all. They started texting constantly, meeting for lunch, having long phone conversations about careers and personal lives. When I mentioned it was making me uncomfortable, Jessica launched into lectures about trust and insecurity. "If you can't handle me having male friends, maybe you're not ready for a real relationship." I backed off because she was right about one thing: trust matters. But my gut was telling me this wasn't just friendship. 2 weeks ago Marcus invited Jessica to some weekend music festival about 3 hours away. She mentioned it casually over dinner. "Sounds fun." I said, "When do we need to leave?" "Oh, you're not invited. This is just Marcus and me catching up. He got 2 tickets months ago." "You're going to a weekend festival with your ex?" "I'm going to a festival with my friend. The fact that we used to date years ago doesn't matter anymore." "Where are you staying?" "Marcus has a place up there. His family owns a cabin near the venue." So my girlfriend was planning to spend the weekend at her ex's family cabin attending a romantic music festival, just the 2 of them. "Jessica, I'm not comfortable with this." That's when she exploded. "I knew it. I knew you'd try to control me. This is exactly the kind of insecure behavior that ruins relationships. Wanting my girlfriend not to spend romantic weekends with her ex isn't controlling. It's having standards or jealousy. Call it whatever you want. I'm not okay with it." "Well, too bad, because I'm going anyway. I'm not gonna let your insecurities dictate my life." "Then we have a problem." "No. You have a problem. I'm a strong, independent woman who doesn't need permission from her boyfriend to live her life." That night she posted on Instagram, "A man who can't handle a strong woman isn't a man." Followed by empowerment quotes about not letting anyone dim your light. The post got dozens of likes and comments from her girlfriends. Yes. Queen. Don't let him control you. You deserve better. I screenshot the whole thing. The next morning Jessica packed her overnight bag for the festival weekend. I hope you use this time to think about whether you want to be in a relationship with someone who trusts and respects me. She said, "I'll definitely be thinking about our relationship." She kissed my cheek like nothing was wrong. I love you. Try not to be jealous while I'm gone. After she left, I spent that Friday thinking about what she'd said and done. The public post mocking me for having boundaries was the final straw. I texted her that evening. "When you get back Sunday, we need to talk about our relationship." She replied, "Fine. Hopefully you'll have calmed down by then." Update: won the decision. Saturday morning I started making arrangements for Jessica's return. First I gathered all her belongings from my apartment. Clothes, makeup, books, toiletries, everything she gradually brought over. It wasn't much since she maintained her own place, but there was still a decent amount accumulated over months. Packed everything carefully into boxes and bags. Took photos as I went to document that I was handling her property responsibly. Saturday afternoon I drove to her studio apartment building and left everything neatly organized outside her door. She still had her keys and her lease, so she had full access to her own place. Then I wrote a note. Jessica, you're absolutely right. Strong, independent women don't need men who can't handle their strength. I respect your independence and your right to make your own choices. Since you're strong enough to spend weekends with your ex despite my concerns and confident enough to post publicly about how I'm not man enough to handle you, you're obviously strong enough to handle your own living arrangements too. Your belongings are outside your apartment door. I'm sure a strong woman like you will have no problem managing from here. Thanks for teaching me what independence really looks like. Tom. Left the note with her things at her apartment. Sunday evening I changed my social media relationship status to single and waited for her to return to my place. Around 8 p.m. she showed up with her overnight bag, expecting to come in and continue our normal routine. I met her at the door but didn't invite her in. We need to talk. She said we do, but not inside. Tom, what's going on? You're acting weird. I did the thinking you suggested, decided you're right about strong, independent women not needing men who can't handle them. Okay. Good. So we can move past this. We can move past this relationship. Yes. Her expression changed. What do you mean? I mean we're done. You made it clear this weekend that you prioritize your ex's feelings over mine, and your Instagram post made it clear what you think of men who have boundaries. Tom, don't be ridiculous. That post wasn't even about you specifically. It was posted right after our fight about you spending the weekend with Marcus. What else would it be about? I was just venting to my friends by calling me less than a man for not wanting my girlfriend to go on romantic getaways with her ex. I didn't say that. I pulled out my phone and showed her the screenshot. A man who can't handle a strong woman. Isn't a man posted 6 hours after I told you I wasn't comfortable with your weekend plans. She looked at her own post. Okay. Maybe that was poor timing, but it doesn't mean we have to break up. Actually, it does. Your stuff is at your apartment. Your key won't work here anymore because I changed the locks. You changed the locks? Tom, this is insane. This is me handling a strong woman by letting her be strong and independent. Where am I supposed to stay? At your apartment. You know, the one you kept specifically because you're independent. Tom, please, we can work this out. I'm sorry about the post. You're sorry you got caught. Not sorry you did it. There's a difference. I love you. I don't want to lose you over this. You lost me when you chose to publicly mock me for having relationship standards. The rest is just logistics. I went back inside and locked the door. Update to reality checks. Over the next week, Jessica tried various approaches to get back together, but I held firm. She called repeatedly, leaving voicemails that went through the usual stages: anger, bargaining, desperation, manipulation. You're being completely unreasonable. If you let me explain, we can fix this. I can't believe you're throwing away 10 months over one weekend. This is the most childish thing anyone has ever done to me. Her friends got involved too, sending messages about how controlling and insecure I was being, how Jessica deserved better treatment, how real men don't abandon their girlfriends over minor disagreements. I screenshot those messages too. Tuesday she showed up at my workplace during lunch hour. Security let me know someone was asking for me in the lobby. She looked stressed. Hair not perfectly styled, makeup rushed, clearly not sleeping well. Tom, please, we need to talk properly. This has gone too far. I disagree. This has gone exactly as far as it should. I made a mistake with the Instagram post. I was emotional and said things I didn't mean. You meant them when you posted them. You meant them when your friends were agreeing with you in the comments. People say stupid things when they're upset. True. And people face consequences when they say stupid things publicly. Tom, I'm sorry. Really sorry. Can we please try to work through this, work through what you went to a romantic weekend with your ex after I told you I wasn't comfortable with it? Then you posted about how I'm not man enough to handle your independence. What's to work through? I realized now that the weekend was inappropriate. I should have respected your feelings. You realize that after you went anyway and posted about how weak I am for having boundaries. I was wrong. I'm admitting I was wrong. Great. You can be wrong and single. Tom, I can't afford my studio apartment on just my part-time salary. I was planning to give it up and move in with you officially. Good thing you kept it then. Shows you're more independent than you thought. I'm going to have to find roommates or move back with my parents. Sounds like something strong independent women figure out themselves. She started crying. Please don't end 10 months over one stupid weekend. I'm not ending it over one weekend. I'm ending it over your complete disrespect for our relationship and your public mockery of my character. Security came over to check if everything was okay. Jessica left after that. Final update: 6 weeks later, the aftermath played out exactly like you'd expect from someone who talks about independence but doesn't actually practice it. Jessica couldn't afford her studio apartment on her part-time salary. She'd been counting on eventually moving in with me to cut her housing costs. She tried finding roommates, but her credit wasn't great and her income was too low for most people looking to share expenses. After 3 weeks, she had to break her lease and move back in with her parents in the suburbs. Real independent woman energy there. Her weekend with Marcus didn't lead anywhere either. Apparently he was fine with a nostalgic festival weekend but wasn't interested in actual relationship responsibility. Most of her friend group gradually stopped commenting on her posts about the situation. Easy to cheer someone on online, harder to offer actual support when they need it. Jessica made a few more attempts to reconcile over the first month. Always the same themes. She'd learned her lesson. She understood boundaries. Now she was ready to respect the relationship. The final attempt was last week. She called from her parents' house. Tom, I've had time to really think about everything. You were right about the weekend with Marcus. I should have listened to your concerns. Okay. I miss you. I miss us. Is there any chance we could try again? No. Why not? I'm admitting I was wrong about everything. Because this wasn't about being right or wrong. It was about your character. You chose to disrespect our relationship and then publicly attacked my character for having standards. I was immature. I've grown since then. Good for you. Grow with someone else. Tom, please. I'm different now. I'm sure you are living with your parents at 28 probably changes your perspective on independence. That's not fair. Neither was posting about how I'm not man enough to handle strong women. I deleted that post, too bad. I still have screenshots. She hung up. Haven't heard from her since. Started dating someone new recently. Amanda works full-time in accounting, has her own apartment, handles her own finances. The difference is refreshing. When I told her about the Jessica situation, her response was perfect. Independence means being able to support yourself, not testing how much disrespect your partner will tolerate. The revenge wasn't complicated. It was just taking Jessica at her word about being strong and independent, then giving her the opportunity to prove it. She wanted to demonstrate that she didn't need permission to live her life. I demonstrated that she was right by removing myself from her life entirely. Jessica thought she could have the benefits of a relationship while publicly mocking her partner's boundaries whenever it suited her. Instead, she learned that relationships require mutual respect, not one-sided arrangements where one person gets stability while the other gets criticized. The Instagram post said it all. A man who can't handle a strong woman isn't a man. She was absolutely right. A real man handles a strong woman by respecting her strength enough to let her handle her own consequences. Perfect lesson in what actual independence looks like: strong enough to ignore your boyfriend's concerns, strong enough to pay your own rent, strong enough to publicly mock your partner. Strong enough to find a new partner. Strong enough to prioritize your ex over your relationship. Strong enough to live without that relationship. Jessica got exactly what she posted about: complete independence from a man who supposedly couldn't handle her strength. The note said it best: strong enough to be on your own. Right. Turns out she wasn't as strong as her social media suggested, but that's what real independence teaches you. The difference between talking about strength and actually having it.